Welcome. I'm Chris McKean.
And I'm Andy Kiner.
We're all about cross-country racing, and normally it starts with 10 seconds.
But not in Iowa. In Iowa, it's all about hands-on helmets.
Man, gotta say it again. Hands-on helmets? And
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah. Had a big week last week, didn't we?
A good weekend.
Right. Huh. What was up with your side of things?
Well, my side got to go to a good wedding, outdoor wedding. It was kind of questionable with the rain earlier Saturday, but yeah. That was the main event. Otherwise, it's working on my side house project. So, yeah.
I know you've had a lot going on. It's been a heck of a year for you. Appreciate everything you've been able to get done in the meantime.
Yeah. Talk a little later. Yeah, we got points done too, so they're all out there. Spoiler.
Started getting a little questions about that.
Uh-oh.
But about getting them out there. So I was glad. I know it's almost pointless till you get to that second or third race, but
yeah, you get an idea where you stand, but it's hard really to tell until closer to sixth, seventh race for throwouts. You never know what can happen. Too many more races to come. So
yep. So we got a lot going on tonight, though.
We do. We have our Jason Mickelson Century 21 racer highlight. Tanner Housley going to join us.
Tanner Housley.
Yeah. Very
cool. No, I'm supposed to say very nice.
Very nice. That's your code word.
I get people counting how many times I say very nice. So
I've heard it's turned into a drinking game of, a beverage of your choice. But so is that 2 drinks now? 2 drinks within 3 minutes. So we're doing good.
I only said 1 each, though, right? Huh. Oh no.
Yeah, we also have our third interview from the last race with Kolter Smalley.
Hang on, I'm coming back. There we go.
You never left.
It didn't? Oh,
nope.
I just couldn't see you on the screen.
That's a good thing.
Right.
So we also have Kolter Smalley interviewing Cade Tomlinson in our third installment of the youth Jason Mickelson Century 21 racer highlight. And then, we got the Gator coming on. So
that should be fun as always. Still there?
I am. Are you still there?
I think so. There we go.
Are you having some issues?
Not really.
You need an IT guy?
No, I'm here. You see, I got it figured out, didn't you?
Sure. Yep.
You did. Well, I think we should bring on Mr. Tanner. I'm excited. Well, I guess we're not quite ready, though, are we?
Not quite. Why don't you keep talking like normal for just a couple seconds longer? I got to do some behind the scenes work here.
Yeah. So you mentioned having fun last weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Brock and Beth's wedding. That was it was a lot of fun. It was cool to see the series people there and the race family. So they're on getting photos today. They're on their honeymoon, out on a Caribbean cruise. Or I think it's Caribbean, or what do you call that? It's in the Bahamas, but it's like what's the name of the ship? Something Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
First time Brock's been on one. Beth's been on one before, so he's blown away by it right now. So pretty cool. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Probably did some things that we wish we didn't do, but
no regrets here.
You left it too early, though. That's the problem.
I'm getting too old. Getting too old.
Cool. Well, should we bring Tanner on?
Yep, I think we're ready.
Let's bring Tanner on. Kind of excited about this one.
Hey, welcome, Tanner.
Hello.
Good morning. The Tanner, we were talking about just choosing some people to bring on here and stuff, and your name popped up, and I can't go to Fort Dodge now without thinking about where I found you at the Fort Dodge track. Was that at the normal race or was that the Heartland?
It was a normal race, but it was the mud one last year. I think it was the Sunday.
That's right. So tell me real quick, Tanner, when I came around that corner, I had planned on just looking down that rock hill to see if anybody was stuck below. I come around the corner, Chris, and he is on top of another four-wheeler at the very peak of that hill. How did that happen?
Well, I was going up the hill and I got stuck and I was there for a few minutes, but then while I was there, I heard like a loud noise behind me and I turned around and there was this blue four-wheeler. I think it was a 450 flying up the hill straight at me. And I was kind of in shock for a second. So I jumped off my four-wheeler and good thing it was in gear and it stayed there. And he kind of just climbed up the back tire and on top of my four-wheeler. It was crazy.
Huh. Dang. Well, it was quite, and I think all you had wrong was, unfortunately, it broke your throttle, didn't it? Throttle off, so you couldn't go. Yep. Shoot. But dang, that would end up being a shorter course, but ended up being a pretty fun one, everybody said.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good. So, well, Tanner, we're here obviously for the Jason Mickelson Century 21 Rider Spotlight. And so we have some questions for you, but I keep thinking here that I know you probably get sick of me talking. I'm sure you do. So why don't we have Chris ask the questions tonight?
Well, me? I'm not prepared.
Well, then who's going to ask him the questions?
What
The heck is that? A gator?
Is that a gator?
What is up?
Welcome.
What's up? I'm here.
Ain't this cool? Well, welcome, Adam.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a bit, but feels good to be back.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing that you need somebody to help with some questions.
Yeah. I think Tanner would probably much more enjoy you asking the questions than me or Chris.
You sure about that, Tanner?
Yeah.
I
That'd be cool.
I see you got an American flag in the background. I like that, dude. So, all right. So, Tanner, this is my first time doing this, so I'm a little bit rough with being on the mic. I'm a little nervous, okay? So, where is home for you?
I live in Norwalk, Iowa.
Is that a real place? Is it a big town?
No.
Kind of. It's a decent size.
I can relate. I grew up in a small town myself. I would hope the next question they sent me is, you're not married, are you? I would hope not. Okay. Are you thinking about it? Do you have somebody in mind already?
No.
Okay. Just checking. Keep away from them girls, man. They're all trouble. The next one, kids? None that we know of?
No.
All right. Now, first quad. What was it?
I don't really know what it was. All I know is it was super tiny and it was a Kawasaki. It was like I was like 5 years old.
Well, at least it wasn't blue, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. So we had a Cali, a tiny Cali, so probably a 50 or a 90, right?
Yeah.
Or an 80. Okay. So what was your first race bike? Or what is your race machine currently?
It is a Honda 400EX right now.
I like that. I like that. Nice. So what made you, or how did you get started in this whole racing thing?
I got started when I was younger, and I raced flat track quads for about 2 to 3 years, and that was like when I was 10 to 13 years old. But I started back when I was 5, just riding in my grandma's backyard, and I would do one local race every year for about 8 to 9 years, and that was the Battle at the Barn. I started XC racing about 3 years ago after I broke my arm flat track racing. So we just decided like it was probably a time for a good change. So we just decided to start XC.
Now, I would assume you are an IATVHSS racer, correct?
Yes.
Oh boy, them promoters over there are kind of wishy-washy, if you ask me. All right. What is, now this isn't biased, I didn't put this in there. Favorite racer, favorite ATV racer?
I would have to say Walker Fowler.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah. You're my second. You're my second.
Okay. I guess I'm runner-up again. Stop it, Chris. Stop it. These are the questions you guys sent me, all right? So, so the next one would be like, what is your favorite racetrack? It could be, XC. It could even be TT, because I'm kind of interested in the TT thing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I'd say my favorite racetrack that I've ever raced at would probably be the Fort Dodge track at IATVHSS. I think it's really fun.
Now, which one is that, Andy? Was that the Heartland track?
That's where our current Heartland is right now.
Okay, yep. So that has like the speedway or whatever in it that I've seen, the mulch.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome. So you're pretty young, but what is the best advice anyone has ever given you? And this could be, you've been involved in a while. You broke your arm, so, rubber side down is probably one of them. But, what would be a good piece of advice that somebody has given you?
I don't really know. I feel like I don't know if it's advice, but my uncle always tells me, or he has been, just after every race to go a little bit faster each time. And I think that's pretty cool, and I'm trying.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get used to. I mean, like Andy and Chris really ain't racers; they're more couch racers. So it's hard to understand and try to talk that into, to bring it perspective. And I understand it. When you're going wide open, it's hard to go more wide open, right? So, outside of racing, what is a hobby of yours? What is one of your favorite hobbies?
One of my favorite hobbies is bowling. I like bowling a lot, and I do that a lot with my family. Yeah.
So best score?
266.
Holy shit, we've got a pro.
Andy can do that with bumpers.
I'd be up to get out of the 130s. Oh my God. That's impressive. So hats off to that, man. But favorite song?
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, Tanner, don't you also bowl for Norwalk High School?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I saw that.
Well, really? Come on. You're a professional already in high school.
A little bit.
A little bit. So, what's your favorite song?
I don't really have a favorite song. I just like listening to a bunch of different genres, mainly just different music all the time.
So what would be your favorite genre of music?
I like older country, not like the newer country, but
so you like
80s, 90s.
Garth Brooks, like Hank Williams, Brooks and Dunn, Vince Gill, like those.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I would say I'm a little more of a grunge fan, like Kurt Cobain, Sum 41, like that kind of music. But I do enjoy, like you said, a mix of everything.
What'd you say, Adam? I
Grunge?
haven't heard of any of those.
Grunge, so like Limp Bizkit.
I've heard of Limp Bizkit. Okay, yep.
Nirvana.
Yep.
Like Green Day. What else? I'm drawing a blank. You put me on the spot. But I'm like a grungy guy, you know. But that's just me. But I do enjoy the good, 90s, 80s country stuff. So do you listen to any other podcasts? Like, what was your last one you listened to, if you did?
I don't really listen to podcasts.
What?
Yeah. I've never really gotten into it. I just stick to like the YouTube videos.
Okay. That's
You don't listen to any podcasts?
No.
None.
Maybe you should.
None.
Tanner.
I don't know. I might have to try it.
Maybe while you're practicing bowling, you can throw on our
Yes.
podcast, and you'll at least a 10-point increase.
I mean, think
Maybe.
about it. You could be listening to somebody telling you how to bowl and talking about it, and you're just like in your zone, man, rolling that thing. So, all right. So here's a pretty good one. If you had $1 million, what would be the first 3 things you'd buy? And before you answer this, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Okay. So, all right. I just wanted to put that out there because I'm curious to see what a 16-year-old answer is.
I'd probably buy a diesel truck.
Which one?
Ford. I don't know what kind. I haven't really looked into it, but
a Ford,
something
right?
nice. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because we ride Hondas, we drive Fords. That's how that works.
I'd probably buy a house
Okay.
and some land. I'd probably buy some acres.
How many?
That'd be good. Whatever the rest of the money would be. Yeah.
Good answer. So, do you have a hidden talent? Bowling was pretty good.
Really
I
know.
never expected it.
I don't really know. I don't.
Do you do anything quirky, like 6 marshmallows stuffed in your mouth at one time?
No, not really.
6 saltine crackers in 30 seconds without drinking water?
No, that would be crazy though.
All right. So, celebrities. Who's your favorite?
I'd say right now, I don't know who's Morgan Wallen, maybe. I like Joe Rogan, even though I don't watch his podcast.
Podcaster.
Yeah, I know.
That's a podcaster.
Yeah.
I gotta agree. I like Joe Rogan. Morgan Wallen, correct? I always want to call him Waylon. He's a good one. I'm a Megan Fox fan. So, all right. So this one might be a little bit tough. What is the movie that describes your life the best?
I don't really know. I'm kind of blanking on the movies right now.
I know it's tough, and I was going to think Talladega Nights because of racing, but you can't say that. I mean, you could.
What if you don't know what's your favorite movie then?
Yeah, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie would probably be Remember the Titans. I really like that movie.
Solid choice. I will have to agree. I like that one myself. All right. So this one's a pretty broad one that they sent me. Okay. What's on your bucket list? So what would be a bucket list thing that you'd be like, wow, I couldn't believe I did, or I'm getting the opportunity to do that?
I'd probably say like bungee jumping or something off of like a super high bridge.
Oh
I
God.
think that'd be crazy, but cool.
You can tell you're
It'd be
young.
scary.
I'm out. Dude, yeah, that would be wild.
I don't know if that's any worse than that ride that you guys rode, you and Mikey, out there at the fair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did. So, not getting too far out of subject. You talk about bungee jumping. I skydived once, and I took my wife. We wasn't married. We wasn't engaged. All that stuff. And it was like we went up, and it was. I don't think I'll ever do it again. I get it, the bucket list thing, and that's what I told her. But holy, I'm out. When you had to put your feet, you know what I mean, like out on the runners of the plane, it changes the whole dynamic of being like, I'm going to jump out of this thing. So, so the next one is, this one's kind of interesting. If you would have one superpower, what would it be?
I'd say, I don't know, maybe going invisible or something. I feel like that'd be like beneficial in a way. I don't know.
Is that because of girls? Don't be doing that.
Maybe.
Don't be doing that. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you're 16 now. You're still pretty young, I feel. But what would be some advice if you can go back in time from 16 to 10? What would be something you'd tell your 10-year-old self?
I'd probably say just like enjoy your childhood, because I feel like at my age now, it's like everything's starting to pick up a little faster, and I'm just time's starting to fly by. So like enjoy my childhood.
So Andy, that's got to make you feel pretty good. So on you, Chris, 'cause you guys are at least 100, correct?
Yeah, combined.
Oh shoot!
I can tell you.
We're always nice on here, Adam. We don't like to make fun of each other.
Yeah.
I know, but Tanner, I get it, dude. When time goes, I'm telling you, days or weeks. I mean, it's nuts, dude. It's wild. It's crazy to hear you say that being 16. I'm 38 now, and to hear that, it's scary to me. So, all right, we're getting close to the end of these. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into the room, which one would you choose and why?
Oh no, I feel like I'd have to do like something more like upbeat or like kind of funny. I don't know, because I'm more of like a serious person.
You're a 90s and an 80s country guy. There's got to be that one. Vince Gill, Neil McCoy, Brooks and Dunn.
I don't really know. That's kind of hard. There's like a lot of songs that would just, I don't know. I feel like it would have to be like something that just like brings like the spirit and like energy into the room.
So, who sang? So, with everything you've told me with being invisible, I'm thinking that song "Shake It." Who sang that one? It was "Shake it to the left, shake it to the right. Come on, baby, you know what I like."
Was that Neil McCoy?
I think it might be.
I think
shake
so.
It real funky,
Maybe.
shake it real low. So it's like get you moving, talking about girls. You talk about being invisible.
You're gonna have to think on this one, Tanner.
So, all right. What do you think of when you're alone in the car? Oh God, this is a tough one for a 16-year-old.
I'm probably just like trying to stay on the road, honestly. I feel like I get sidetracked sometimes when I'm driving. I'll just like find myself going towards the edge. So I'm like trying to stay focused.
So like this?
No, not on my phone.
Oh my God. So what's the funniest thing that has happened to you lately? This has to be good.
I'd say I was by myself and I was walking down this hill in my yard and I kind of fell and just tumbled down the hill. No one was around, so no one saw me, but
So it didn't happen.
Yeah, but it was embarrassing. It was bad.
All right. So this is the last one from me to you. Favorite movie of all time? The do-all, end-all movie for you?
There's really only one answer for this, Tanner, but I'm anxious to see what you say.
What?
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go with a different movie, and I would watch, if it was my last movie, I'd want to watch like Rookie of the Year, if you've ever seen that. It's a baseball movie.
Yep.
Rookie of the Year. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I like it. I think it's a good one.
So what's it about? Obviously baseball, but
it's like a teenager that gets drafted in the MLB because he like broke his arm, and then he got like super strength and could like throw the ball really fast. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that. I've seen Sandlot.
That'd be a good one too.
I've seen that one. So, well, that's it for my questions. So I think Chris and Andy were talking about some other ones for you.
Do you have the rapid fires right there?
Oh, I do. I got them right here. I just didn't know if you guys wanted to get involved in this. I mean, this is your podcast.
Go ahead and just buzz right through them real quick.
We're taking a break.
So, Tanner, this is how this is going to work. I'm going to throw two things at you. You're going to give me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay? And these are all PG, so you don't have to worry about getting caught or, being invisible or anything like that. Okay?
All righty.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Favorite drink?
Pepsi.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite singer?
Morgan Wallen.
Okay. Favorite restaurant?
Pete's Pizza.
You do like pizza, don't you?
Yes.
Favorite sports team?
I'm going the Red Sox.
Something about you and baseball and pizza, dude. I think you need to go to a baseball game. I feel that in your future. It's coming. So, favorite ice cream?
Just vanilla.
Okay. If you could have any car, what would it be?
An Audi R8. The fast one.
Bougie. Damn.
That's after the truck.
Went from a diesel truck to an R8. I'm thinking like. All right. Would you rather have a talking pet or a self-cleaning house?
A self-cleaning house.
I do agree. Okay, last one. Would you rather fight a giant spider or a giant? Oh God, those are terrible. Or a giant snake?
A giant spider.
What?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be easier to take down.
Oh bullshit!
No.
No way. No way. So I think that's. Wait. I got a couple more. Hell, they spaced them way out. All right, you ready for this? I got a couple more for you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite subject in school?
Math.
I would say lunch, but that's me. All right. If you could have any animal, what would it be? Any?
Say a parrot. Like a super colorful one.
Like the
McCall.
pirate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. If you could be anything you want when you grow up, what would you be? Anything.
I would say an astronaut.
Oh.
All right.
I think that'd be cool.
Now they threw this one back at you. Are you ready? What's your favorite movie? Come on.
No.
Come on, change
I'm
your
gonna
mind.
do something different.
Change your mind.
We're gonna keep going until
I can't think of one.
Come on, hurry. This is the thinking thing. You gotta go.
We'll just do Remember the Titans. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
No.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness, we're done. We're through the questions.
Woo!
Good job, Tanner. Was that better than having Chris ask you questions?
Whoa.
Yeah.
What, was it better than Andy asking you questions, Tanner?
No.
Oh,
No,
see there?
Come on.
Throw a win.
Tanner, what did
man. You get a 10-second head start
Okay.
next race, Tanner.
You can start with your hands
Adam,
on the handlebars. How about that?
There you go. A couple things that stuck out to me when you guys were talking. It's kind of funny, Chris. Ice cream. I never would imagine that. My favorite is vanilla. But I don't know if we've had a different answer, have we? I think almost everybody so far has always said vanilla.
Yeah, you guys.
And Adam, I think this is our 5th one, isn't it?
Yeah, I can tell you that my favorite, I just like just plain old vanilla. And I don't know why.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, if
All
I
the
choose
millions.
chocolate or vanilla, it's vanilla all day long.
Huh. Well, the other thing, Chris, how many of these we've done now? 5 or 6?
I think about 5 or so. Yeah, don't quote
And
me.
ironically, the one time that Adam is on here, we get the question of who's your favorite racer, and who have we had? Literally, this is no joke, Adam. Who have we had every single time? Not pushing anybody. What have they said every time?
It was always me, and then it was always followed by Adam.
I get this curly-headed kid with an American flag in the background that says Walker and rides a Honda. Come on. Come on.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I give him credit because the other day when we were talking about this, before we knew you were going to be on, he actually told us Walker. So I was really curious if he would stick to his guns or if he would change it up with you on here. So I got to give him credit for sticking to your guns. That's pretty cool. But
yeah.
I'll bet Adam's climbing the list pretty quick, isn't he?
Dude, I love it. I like it because I would love to have everybody, right? But competition is good. So it's like now I want to beat Walker because I want Tanner to be a fan. So what do I got to do? Well, evidently I got to watch baseball movies and start eating more pizza. Would that do it, Tanner?
Yeah.
And bowl. Bear practice
And
bowling.
bowl over 200 and 130 ain't going to cut it.
Well, maybe I hear rumors that you're going to be in town, so I'm sure there's a good pizza place and a bowling alley pretty close in there, Tanner.
There is, yeah.
So does that mean you're asking me on a date? So we're going to watch baseball movies, become invisible?
No.
Yeah, I'm really excited about coming out. And actually, let me grab my paper real quick. It's got all my info on it, just in case you ask me a question I can't remember.
Tanner, do you want to stick around or do you want to? It's up to you.
Whenever you guys don't need me.
You want to hang out or not? I mean, is Walker your favorite?
All right. Well, how about Tanner? We'll go ahead and let you go if you don't mind. And thank you for coming on, though. We really appreciate it. It was fun. I'm glad that Adam chose to do that. So we learned a lot about Tanner Housley, and we're looking forward to learning more and seeing you around, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Tanner.
I appreciate it, Tanner. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll see you out there. What's that pizza place you talked about that was good?
Pete's Pizza in Indianola, Iowa.
Okay, so all right. We'll definitely meet up. I'm going to hold you to that, all right?
All righty.
So what is that?
Thanks,
Probably
Tanner.
20 miles? Within 20 miles of where you'll be at, Adam.
From Runnels?
Is my best.
Runnels is where I'll be?
Yeah, it's actually where you stayed the last time, Adam.
Yeah.
Really?
It was Indianola. Yep.
Dude, it was all flat and corn out there. It looked all the same to me. I'm sorry.
I'll bet when you have the school, we can probably get a pizza brought out there just to.
Tanner better deliver it with his diesel truck or his Audi R8, whatever it might be at that time.
All right. Well, thanks, Tanner, again for joining us.
Yes, thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. We'll see ya.
Dude, good kid, huh?
Yeah, that was cool.
Has he been racing with you long? He said 3 years?
Yeah, I think about 3 years. Yep.
3 years
Yep.
racing
Awesome.
with the series. Yeah. Flat track before that.
That's cool. I've always been interested in that. I've been asked to do a couple of those and just never had the chance to. And I really want to figure out what that's about. So hopefully I can do that when I come out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, Adam, I know I've had some questions about this. You'd posted about the school.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit? I've had a lot of questions. We've kind of shared it a little bit, talked about it a little bit here on the podcast. But since you're the man and you're here, why don't you tell us what's going on there?
All right. Well, don't put me on the spot or anything. But so this has been going on for a while. I've been out. God, Andy, I think the last time I came out was probably 10 years ago when we did it right there at the old Heartland track.
Yep.
And we, and I wouldn't say that we lost touch, but I got busy with other things. But I finally got in touch with a family, the Bergs, which I'm sure you know them, John and Jill and their kids. And they were asking me about coming back out. And I've been him-hawing around about it and talking about it. And he said, well, just put up a post and see if there's any interest. So I got enough interest where, okay, well, now I need to get a little serious about this. So the dates of the class that I'm doing are the 7th and the 8th. And this will be in Runnels, Iowa, which I don't know if I really need to, go with the exact address. But from the way I take it, it's at John's place, Berg's house.
Yep.
It's $300 a rider, roughly 4 to 5 hours, depending. I try to keep it a max of 10 per day. I will go over a little bit. I don't like to because I start to lose that connection. And what I mean by that is, like when I'm talking amongst a group, you start getting like 2 or 3 kids deep. And once you start getting 2 or 3 kids or 2 or 3 adults deep, then it becomes very muffled by the time they hear it. So it's a lot of, well, what'd you say or what'd you mean? And I'm not somebody that, I don't care to talk, but it's like, I don't like to go over instructions 4 or 5 times. So I've found that 10 is my number. Like that's my sweet spot. I will go over a little bit if we need to. But 10 is the number. I'm looking at starting between like 12 and 5. Now, I know that we get kind of run off with things, with questions or get run behind, but I'd like to start around noon out there and then go to 5. So the issue, or not the issue, but like the question I was having, I know John was talking about it and Jill, and like normally I always did CC size. And the reason I done that was because of tire size on the machine. And, it's hard to teach a kid that's on, say, a 90 and the same kid's on a 250 and the 250's got a 20-inch tire where the 90 has an 18. So it becomes like an issue with ruts and an issue with the track deteriorating and things like that. So, but John mentioned so the 7th would be like, and I hate using this word, but like my novice or my beginners racers. So it'd be like my little less more advanced, the ones that are like getting into it or the ones that are in C class or something like that. And then the next day would be like my more advanced riders. And the reason we talked about doing it like that was not necessarily of the tire size, because I guess the place, now I've never been to his place in Iowa, but I know that the Heartland area when I was out there held up pretty well. So I would assume that his place would hold up well, the same. Mm-hmm. So, and the reason I want to do it like this is, one, because when I start talking and going in depth with how I approach something, so say like your body positioning on, say, conversation, an off camber corner. Okay. I could talk to everybody in that group the same because they're all on the same learning scale, versus where I've got to individually speak to each one a little differently, because one might be a kid on a 250 that has the talent of an A rider, and one kid's on a DRR 90 who's got the talent of a first year racer. So it becomes, that's always been the hardest part for me, is being able to separate those and make it to where you get the most out of it for the time that I'm there. And that was the only way that I could feel it justified or make it worth people's time to do it, was to be able to break it up like that.
And I agree, Adam. I look at wrestling and racing the same. We've got a lot of coaching in our family with the wrestling, and I know what you're getting at there when you say I don't want to label somebody a beginner or a novice or something, but I think you're on the right track, because when people realize you're not really getting labeled, that's a huge opportunity for somebody like that, because they're the sponges. They're the ones that are willing to learn. When you get to the advance, it's almost like I've learned from, well, Joe told me to do this. Now you're telling me, you know what I mean? So
when I start working with, when I say youngers, it doesn't have to be youngers and youth, but just younger people who are just starting. Dude, I can take that rider and I can mold them so much quicker, and they respond so much faster than an A rider would, because the A rider might be faster, but the habits he created are harder to break.
Absolutely.
And it's wild to think that, but like I've been around a long time, and I've had a lot of bad advice, but I've had a lot of good advice too. And one of the best pieces of advice that I was given was, just because it doesn't feel right doesn't mean it's not right or it doesn't work. So it's like, if we make this change, you've got to trust in this change and do everything you can to adapt to it, right? Because it might mean you got to move up further on the seat just a little bit, but guess what? That's going to pick up 3 seconds versus if you stayed back, we only picked up 1. So it's like, there's a bunch of little things that come into that. How did he word it? You've got to like use all the resources or all things to get to there. And then if it still doesn't work, then you change it. But it's like, I've got 24 years, 26 years racing, 23 years pro. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm still learning to this day. And I'm sure I'm going to go out there and there's going to be a kid or an adult that shows me something. I'm like, holy shit, I never thought of that. So you're always learning, no matter how good or how beginner, you're always learning. So it's like, but like you said, I always hate the labels, because there's no other way for me. Like if I say A or B, it's still a label. If I say pro or novice, it's still a label. So there's no way for me to do it unless I want to start calling it colors. And then people will be like, well, red's the best because you love red. So it's like, I don't know how to do it other than just like that. And I hate being like that.
Another thing I thought of there when you were talking about that and them sponges, and you saying molding them real easy. Lots of times I see, like in these camps, some people like they get uncomfortable and think that's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But when you're uncomfortable is typically when you're learning new stuff. And it's getting that feeling of being in control when you're uncomfortable, or you know what I mean? It's correct. I'm not saying it probably right there, but yeah.
Yeah, but everybody, like what you're talking about, is like you have a comfort, right? And your comfort might be so for example, you get up every day, you have eggs and you have bacon and you go to work, and that's your comfort. But guess what? Chicken might serve you better, or sausage might serve you better. And it's an adjustment. You might not like it at first, but in the long run, it's going to be better for you. And it's the same thing with riding. It's like, the older I get, the more I get in depth. And a lot of it isn't even so much the riding anymore as is, I find so many things with everyone. I don't want to say just youth. When I say youth, I'm thinking of anybody that races, right? Because I'm 38 now. I'm one of the older guys. But like, when I think of like issues, and it's not so much like them, it's bar angles, it's lever placement, it's shifters, it's foot placement. It's like just little dumb things that like you don't really teach, right? And so it's like you buy foot pegs, and the foot pegs might be lower than stock or back or forward or something that's different, and it threw your brake pedal height off. Now you never changed it, so you adapted to it, and you're struggling to get to it. You see what I'm getting at? So it's as simple as something like that, or you buy a different clutch lever that's longer than the other one, so you could change the motion of it, or moving it in or out. There's a lot of things, I did a school in Indiana a couple years ago for trackside power sports, and Anthony he's been a great dude, and but we spent like an hour talking about how to set up steering dampers. And to me, I look at it, it's second nature, right? It's just like getting up and going to work, right? You get up, you do your job, and it's not a big deal. I know what my settings are. I know where I want it. But a lot of people that buy this stuff just bolt it on and they go. So, it's things like that are we're going to be talked about, as well as some riding stuff. So it could be 4 hours depending on, how quick they learn, or it could be longer than 5 because they get me on a rant just like I'm on now about other things for an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I know the last time you were here doing that school, I'll use my son as an example. Coming home afterwards, you always, at least I'm always interested in hearing people just talk, not coming because of who you are or whatever, but just kind of literally getting some true feedback. And it surprised me. One of the things that he was talking about was some unique stuff I think that you had worked on. And it was all about the turning, like turning around a tree, and I can't remember if you had like a 5-gallon bucket out there or if it was a tree, but you were just talking about the clutching, and stuff and coming in and the different brakes and just stuff like that you might hear from a buddy, but it's not explained. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a figured out. And I know you quicken that learning curve up a lot. You know?
It's easy. I'm always interested in how other people teach, because everybody's got a different perspective on how they look at stuff. Now I go out and, I'll be teaching, like I said, out there in Runnels, and there might be 20 kids or whatever the number is that learn from me and pick it up. But there might be 2 that struggle with it, right? And it's not because of how I taught it. It's just maybe because how I relayed the message. So it's like there's, like when I do, I'm involved with the Osborne off-road camp. Like with that, you've got so many other riders, and the perspective and the way they talk might click a little bit better with another rider. So it's like, that's one thing that I'm still trying to figure out. I'm always open to, is I'm always listening to the other coaches talk. And, I have some that are like, they just follow me and they do what I do. And I'm like, okay, well, that works for some. But the hard part is to be able to break it down and explain it. And the older I get, the more I start to learn, like there's 3 parts to a corner. There's multiple parts to how we set the bikes up. I mean, when you really go to break this down and get into the nitty gritty, there's a lot of moving parts in riding an ATV or racing an ATV.
Yep. And something else that I always talk about, Adam, I don't know if you probably won't be talking about this at the school, but I just wanted your quick opinion on this, because I know I'm very proud of you for doing this too, because when I see highlights from the GNCCs and stuff, there's one thing that's very consistent, and you're always there around the youth starting lines. And I think we've all seen this. And I don't care what sport it is, so I'm not just pinpointing our sport, but whether it be T-ball or whether it be racing go-karts or four-wheelers. But the one thing I see sometimes is little Joey might hit a tree out there, and the track crew gets to him and he might not be too happy. I mean, he might be having a couple tears, and you ask him what's wrong. He goes, "Oh, my dad's going to be mad at me," and I'm always saying, like, hey, don't worry about it. And the first thing I usually say when I get back to the pits, I don't ever call somebody out like, hey, don't be mad at it.
Yeah.
I would say is, I don't think people realize, these little kids, especially, because, I know they are 10 times faster than when I was a kid. I'm sure they're a lot faster now than when you were, as far as the machines go. But I always bring up the fact that these kids got to make 1,000 split-second decisions in one lap, and most people aren't ever in that situation, maybe never in life, and it's all a fun thing, but it's when you break it down per lap on, I don't care what series or what kind of racing, but I think woods racing is by far probably, the most of this situation, as far as, like I said, at least 1,000 times you have a chance to do something wrong,
Yeah. Think about, like, what is your youngest that could start in the IATVHSS? What is the youngest?
4 years old.
So think about that 4-year-old. His brain's not even developed. It could still be mushy. You see what I'm getting at? And you're wanting to go out and race an ATV, or her to go race an ATV. So it's quite astonishing, because at 4 years old, I was still shitting my pants.
So was Andy.
Yes.
But you see what I'm getting at? Like you said, it's to me it's wild to see it and like to watch these kids. And I never had, so like I hit it in that weird window with the youth racing as far as there was none. And I mean, when I say there was none, there wasn't shit. There was nothing youth racing when I started. They had it in the early 90s, got rid of it, and brought it back. I want to say 06, 07, and I was already in pro class. So it's like at that, I mean, I completely missed that window. I was already, I lied about my age for 2 years so I could race, and we're not even going to get into that. But anyways, like the youth racing stuff now it blows me away. I used to be able to walk around and meet every kid and carry on a little bit of a conversation with them, right? I can't get to all the rows anymore. There is that many riders, and it makes me so happy because I'm so passionate about the sport because I grew up reading Dirt Wheels and four-wheel ATV Action and reading all, the ATV riders and EX rider forums and quad zone forums and all this. And I know I'm getting way, way old school for some of these, people listening, but like it's amazing to see where the sport is, whether it's growing or not, just to see the engagement and the interest these kids have is just, to me, it makes me smile like in here,
100%. We had a goal this year, Adam, of before COVID, I think we were about 55, 56, somewhere around there, kids, in the series. Yeah. And all of a sudden last couple of years, it's really picked up. But last year, I think we hit 82 or 83, Chris, something like that.
That's
and
awesome.
So our goal this year was to hit 100 youth riders. And I think we have been 92, 93, 4 almost all year. So we're really close. I know we got some new ones going to start, but for sure, we're going to hit 100 this year for just our youth riders.
That's impressive. I mean, this area out here, there's so many other, there's so many different series that are racing. And so it's hard for like where you are, I feel there's only one in Iowa, right? Or in that area. So it's for you to draw that number, that's big. I mean, you're talking close to GNCC numbers, being a regional series, or, it's impressive. I mean, we don't see, and most of the ones I go to, maybe 50 at most, so it's the turnout I wouldn't say is huge, but there's also 5 different races going on that day within 2 hours of each other or 3 hours.
Sure. Yep. Well, you'll be happy to hear our largest class is a Honda class, we call it. There's a couple other machines, but the Honda 90, we had to split them. We had up to like 33, 34 last year. So we split them up by age. Yeah. And now we have, help me, Chris, I think 19 in the young ones and like 29 in the old ones already again.
The
so
numbers
we're
are
50 people just in the 90s in this
That's
stock
awesome.
Honda. Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
I call it the 90s because they own that class, so.
That makes me happy because it's there's not as people know, there's not a whole lot of manufacturers out there still making or producing machines, and it makes me happy to know that we've got kids interested. So now, how do we keep them? Right, that's the next step.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, Adam, I sure appreciate what you're doing with the kids. That's our big passion in our series, our pride and joy. And like I said, anytime we can get a pro. I'm kind of getting off track here for what I want to talk to you about, but I think you've probably heard me say this before, but not too many places in this country you can have your kid, whether it be 4 or whether he's 15, pick a hero in his favorite sport, and not see issues with it throughout the year, whether it be, self-brought on or, on or off the field or whatever it might be. But for our sport, I think we're so lucky because we have many different individuals. I mean, you guys, you don't fit the mold that Walker Fowler does, you know what I mean? And such. And it's, everyone is so different. You're so good with the kid to have a sport, that we can have our kids look up to and not have to worry about a week from now or 2 weeks from now what's going to happen, and
Yeah,
so I appreciate
I mean,
everything you guys do, but obviously especially what you do with the kids and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're still human. We all make mistakes and things happen, but you try to be the best you can, right? I mean, I like drinking bourbon. I like to ride three-wheelers. I like to, have fun just like the next guy. But it's wild because I always talk about things in stories, and I don't know why I do it, but I had a family. It was my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I had a family. I love bourbon, right? I love bourbon. I love whiskeys, that kind of thing. And they brought me a double toasted barrel of a bourbon that I've never had. And it's funny because I'm like, you paid attention. And they're like, what do you mean? I said I liked a toasted barrel, just in conversation, just how we're talking. And they listened to it and picked me up one for my birthday. So it's like, I never understood. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand it still to this day because I just ride a four-wheeler, man. That's all I do. So it's like, I still never understand to this day how much of an impact and how much of what I say and what I do people see, right? I'm thinking like, well, people don't pay attention, right? People don't listen to what I say. I'm just a jackass. They listen. And it's wild to think that. And that's just how minute it was to things like this school on giving information where I've got, 30 years of heart put into this.
Yep. No. Very valid. It's cool. So we're looking forward to it. So just to go over this again really quick, August 7th and 8th, it'll be in Runnels.
Correct.
As a crow flies, it's only about 5 miles, I think, from the Iowa State Fairgrounds. So
oh boy.
Yeah. So it's pretty darn close. So we got 2 days of schooling.
Yep.
We've already talked about maybe splitting them up on ages. Is there anything else going on like at the camps? Is there food? Is there anything like that?
So I am not going to do any kind of food. I know that the Bergs have talked about doing maybe snacks or things like that. And the reason I just don't like, I don't know what everybody likes. I don't want to get the health department involved. You see what I'm getting at? So it becomes a sticky thing. We talked about having some snacks, things like that. So like if you're coming, bring waters, bring foods. I'll buy some things to have there to supply them. But I try not to have it because I don't want to focus so much on the food. I love eating. I do. But we're there to learn. We're there to teach. So it's like I just need to make sure we've got enough stuff to keep everybody going, right? And then when we're done, if you all want to hang out or whatever, then that it is what it is. But yeah, so the biggest thing I do ask with the families that are coming is you have to be honest with John and Jill with your rider with as far as the class they're in, the machine they're going to be on, and their age. And that is so I can get them grouped in the correct group to where, like, if you tell me they're a pro and they're really a B rider, I'm going to start talking and getting way above their head to where they don't really know what I'm talking about. So it's going to bring that group down and vice versa. If we get one that's too good that you put in the lower class, then it becomes not a waste of his time, but then it becomes kind of a draw for him. You see what I'm getting at? So everybody learns on a different level. It's just I want to get all the ones that are on the same level or in that range together, and then for the next day.
Yep.
So
sounds good.
Yep. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited for that. And I did hear, like you said, the Iowa State Fair is that week. So is there something going on there?
Yeah. So glad you asked
keep
that.
Dropping hints at me. I want to know what's.
Yep. So I'm thinking maybe if you're going to be around that, so the day after your schools, we're having, it's our fourth annual?
Yeah.
I think it's our fourth annual. It's called the Iowa State Fair Cup. We do a race at the Iowa State Fair. So a lot of the kids a lot of the people last year, I think we had 208 riders at the race. So it pays out pretty nice. We have a 15. You ever heard of this at a fair race? Now this is the Iowa State Fair, but We have a $15,000 purse at that race. And this
God, normally it's a corn dog and a bucket of fries.
We could probably come up with that too, but
Okay.
But yeah, so it's a heck of a payout. It's all done by the Iowa State Fair. We're lucky enough to be a part of getting to put it on. A lot of the kids and a lot of the adults, obviously, that you will be probably working with will be participating in it that next day. So if you're gonna be around, that might be something where you could maybe see how they react. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good. So what kind of race is this? I would assume it's a fair race. It's a contained area, so I'm assuming like a motocross race.
It's not really. I wouldn't call it. It's more of a TT. So
Okay.
are the jumps that we have are only about a foot to foot and a half tall. The 50s can hit them full throttle, no problem. It's more about cornering. That's why one reason I was talking about the cornering and stuff. It's more about cornering. This year we will not have side by side, so the track might be able to be a little bit longer potentially. But it's just a lot of body English getting into it. The TT guys, you get some motocross guys, some flat track guys, really get involved in it. So you get a lot of different, you know what I mean? Can't say the word I'm looking for. Different styles of racing coming together for that race. So
I need to make a few phone calls and see about getting a TT bike.
Oh.
Or you could bring a stock Honda 90. We'll have a adults 90 race as well.
Oh, dude, anytime anybody talks to me about that, the only thing I can think of is getting hurt, because that's all those are good for as an adult.
Yep, I hear you.
But no, I'm definitely interested. I think the last time I went there, I don't remember. I remember we had deep fried Oreos. I've never had those. I think you showed me the butter cow, and I can't remember what else was. I had my first turkey leg, which was full of tendons, which was
Yeah.
But the Oreos were really good. But no, I would definitely be down to, if not race, go watch and hang out, because I mean, who doesn't love fair food?
Right. Yep. So
yeah.
Well, that's cool. Maybe we can put it out there that the Gator will be at the Iowa State Fair. Yeah.
Maybe put it out there. Be like, he's looking for a ride. He just wants to show up with his gear and hang out like a rock star. I don't want to do nothing else.
This doesn't happen very often. So maybe this is something the Iowa State Fair will get involved with, and you'll be on the T-shirts or
maybe
something from what's that?
Or I could announce. I could take your job.
Well, we actually have a very, very unbelievable announcer. He comes in from a racetrack and does a great job, so you don't have to listen to me at all that day.
Okay, good. Then it'll be entertaining. Oh my God.
Oh.
See this message? Somebody's offering up.
I'm seeing them, Jeff. Maybe send me a message on Facebook. So my plan is I'm wanting to come out. It's going to be about 15 hours for me to get there. So I'm going to just, put the 4-wheeler in the back of the truck and haul ass out. So I thought about bringing Charmin, which was my motocross bike. But then I'm like, I really don't want to drag a trailer. So it's not so much for the fuel. It's just, issues, right? You got 4 more tires. You got 2 more axles. So I would just rather throw it in the back of the truck. So worst comes to worst, we'll ride my XC bike, and I'll show them kids how to corner. Or maybe we'll find a 510 moto bike. We'll put some TT tires on it and we'll send that thing. Who knows?
Well, I'll tell you, 90% of the racers there are on XC bikes.
Really?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We have some very fast guys that show up.
Yeah.
But our XC guys have held their own every year and done very well. So it's give and take, you know what I mean? But it's definitely, it's doable easily on an XC bike.
Maybe I need to get me a IATVHSS team shirt.
Well,
be like, I have Bark Busters as a big tank. What's up?
Yeah. We have some team shirts here. You ever seen these?
I've never seen those. Wild. Never seen them.
They're pretty cool.
I bet that guy's an asshole.
Well, there's rumors, but we don't believe all the rumors we hear. So,
yeah, dude, Andy, I'm really excited to head out. I know that it's been some years, and I can't thank the Berg family enough for not for pushing me into considering this, and I'm really looking forward to coming out and hanging out and seeing everybody and sharing some knowledge and leaving impacts, and then potentially seeing a butter cow and getting the corn dog.
There you go. Maybe we'll just make a commitment to get you some of that Pete's Pizza at the school. So
if it's that good, then absolutely, I would love to try some Pete's Pizza, vanilla ice cream. I can't afford an R8. I've got a diesel truck, so we're almost there.
Almost.
Well, that sounds good. So, man, I can't thank you enough, Adam, for coming on here. And I know it's the second time you've came on the podcast with us, and we're going to do our best to get the advertising the school and let us know. I'm sure John can let us know too when you're full.
Yep.
But I guess the biggest thing I could tell anybody, I'm sure you would too, is hurry up and once we get this thing open, get signed up.
I know. Don't take your time if people are watching this and they're considering it. I know we was 10. It was 20. I appreciate it, Addie. We was at 10 within 24 or 48 hours already. So in theory, I only want to take 20. I'll squeak in a little bit more, like I said, but it's very limited. And would I want to come back out? Absolutely. When I can come back out, that's the problem. And then we start pushing in the fall, and then we start fighting with weather. And then, so I know right now, I know that in August, your weather's nice. So it's like, I know I'll be out there that time. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to it and hanging out with you guys and going to the fair. And like I said, I can't thank the Bergs enough for the letting me use the property. So I know that they've got, they have everything I need. So that's why, we talked about doing it there. So I'm very, very excited for going out. But I know that there's probably some people asking some random things, what we're going to go over. I mean, we went over the cost, the time, how we're going to do the classes, but bike setup is one of the things we're going to go over. And I don't try to go a whole lot in depth to that. Now, after the class, we can go a little bit more in depth because, I've only got to roughly 5 hours. Bar placement, some cornering, some braking stuff, body English. We can work on starts if we have time. It just all depends on that time frame. And I know, Andy, you got kids. Chris, do you have kids?
I do. Got a couple teenagers and a young daughter.
Sorry. But you only get so many hours of study and that they retain it. And then after that, it becomes washed, correct? It just becomes just useless. And that's where I'm fighting and I'm juggling. That is like a group of 10, 12, maybe I can, I've got that time frame where I've got it. So it's like, if we go over that, then it becomes an issue of whether they're going to retain it. Are they going to regress? Are they not going to, move forward? Things like that. I know I can make improvements with any rider that I work with. I know that. But it's whether or not I push them to the pass where they can't retain it in that one session. That becomes the juggling act that I play.
Gotcha. Yep. No, that makes sense. But, well, I'll tell you what, you got a few more minutes. I can have fun with you here.
Absolutely. I've always got time for you. I just need one corn dog and I don't know what deep fried Oreos, maybe. I don't know what else I can get out of you.
Well,
we're gonna get you a pork chop on a stick this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Every year there's always something on a stick that's new. We'll have to surprise you.
Yeah, like I said, the turkey leg thing was a shock to me. So Andy, you got me good there. But I'm definitely looking. Yeah, whether or not we race or not, I would love to race. But it all depends, if we have a bunch of kids there and I can hang out with them and be a part of their race, then fine. But I'll obviously have a machine there. I'll have my gear and I'll probably be pushed to race knowing the Bergs. But yes, I will be at the Iowa Fair is the plan.
That's awesome to
Wow.
hear. So Adam, you got time? I'm gonna do a little rider spotlight on you and learn a few things about you real quick.
All right, let's do it.
What was your first quad?
I had, when I was little, the first quad that I remember, I had a Zinger 60. They only made it 1 year.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, tell us, we want to hear a little bit about your race machine. We know you're on a Honda. We know that you're one of the few on the pro class on a Honda, correct?
Yeah, one of two.
One of two, yep.
Yep. So a little bit about my race machine. It's a brand new 2014 TRX 450ER. Just got it. And, you know, Lone Star Components. I just did a video today, believe it or not, of their new A-arms, which is, I know people are going to ask, and you're going to have to give it a few weeks. This is literally the pre-production set to make sure all the fixtures and everything are set right? And once we have that go, I'm going to race them a snowshoe. So after that, I would imagine they'll be in production. So give some time. You know, Axis shocks, O-bore tires, hyper wheels. We definitely outfit it and really well with a lot of the companies I've had on, you know, multiple years. You know, I've ran hyper wheels back when I was on KTMs. You know, we've had, you know, like the tanks, you know, IMS tanks. And like, I've had a lot of these companies that I've been involved with since I've been started. And so the machine is definitely not outdated because we're still able to run up front. It's just people think it's dated because you can't buy a new one. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because it's so good, they just didn't want everybody to have them.
All right. So I'm going to ask you, I'm almost afraid to ask you this. What's your hidden talent?
Oh, boy. I really don't have an answer for it. I mean, I can do that.
I think everybody, you're out there, so everybody kind of knows what your talents are, I think.
Dude, if I would give you a talent, it's a natural gift to gab. I've always been told I need to run for politics. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. I would imagine it is talking to people, reading people. Like, I feel I'm a pretty good judge of that.
Gotcha. I'm excited to hear what you say on this one. With all of your experience, what's the best piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
Oh, God. The first thing is wrap it. But as far as a racing thing, if you do what you've always done, you get what you always got. So that has stuck with me ever since I've been a kid. And a good friend of mine has told me that. He's still one of my good friends to this day. And he's the one that actually got me into racing. And he always told me, he said, if you always do the same thing every day and you expect to get better or expect something different, he said, it's never going to happen. He said, so do something different to change it. And so I've always lived by that, right? So like if you're, you know, if you think you're not making enough money with your job, change it. Make yourself more valuable. How do you do that? Right? You become somebody that they can't replace. So I've always lived by that in my life, and it's always been something that has stuck with me. And it's like, you know, with the racing, with companies, how to talk with sponsorship, to getting my job, to learn how to speak to people. It's always, if you get what you've always done, you get what you always got. So if you want something better, if you want that Audi R8, you might have to change a little bit from that diesel lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's always been something to me that's always stuck with me.
Yeah,
that's good to hear. That's great advice.
I have a very similar life motto. It's like, if you want something you've never had, you must do something you've never done.
Agreed.
Very similar. That.
Yeah. And I'm 100%. I live by that.
Yeah.
Nice. So, which one was it? I had another one here and I forgot. Oh, which
I want to know what, since we're talking about food, getting hungry here, what would you put on what would you put on your ultimate sandwich?
Like if I was building a sandwich?
Yeah, what would you put on it?
Dude, the first thing that comes to mind, I'm a corned beef, pastrami, a vinegar-based coleslaw, and some, what's the stuff they have at Long John Silver's? Malt vinegar?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And fries, French fries, fresh cut fries. Like a Permane sandwich. Dude, corned beef and pastrami, I'm telling you, is the best thing on a sandwich.
Okay.
Huh. Very nice. So if you had 3 famous people you could go out to dinner with, who would it be and why?
Joe Rogan. I think that is one because I love the podcast. I like how he's become an influencer, and he came from a background of people eating elk organs. So it's like, what did he do to get there? Another person that I've known personally that I've asked for advice before has been Scott Kiger, which is a coastal drilling team. You remember them?
Yep.
I have sat down and I've talked with that man multiple times about things, and he's never not delivered. He's somebody that I truly value his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be number 2. And number 3, I would have to say, like, I have 2 serious people, and the third person would have to be like Theo Vaughn. Like, because he's got the attitude like I do, and he's very jokey, one-liner. So it's like, how did you get where you got if you're literally just some dude like me who are like, well, I would have lasted 4 minutes. It's like, why do people think I say that all the time? Why didn't mine catch on? So it's like, what did he do different than me? So I'm going to have to go Joe Rogan, Scott Kiger, which is obviously in the racing stuff. So that kind of, is relevant with that. And then Theo Vaughn.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
So my last question, I'm going to let, if Chris has another one, but again, I'm excited about all these, but everything that you've done, put all the time and effort into and stuff, you've mentioned skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that 1 or 2 things that's still on your bucket list that you've got to make sure you get done?
Does it have to be racing, or does it have
not at all. Anything.
I got married. I've got the house. I've got a house. Man, that is a tough one. A goal of mine has always been, and this might never happen because I'm obviously getting up there in age, but to race every genre of ATV racing that is available. So it's like XC, TT, Moto, desert. You see what I'm getting at? Like works.
Yeah.
So I've done works. I've done desert. I've done XC. I've done some local moto, but no national. So it's like, TT.
Oh.
Like, I want to race in every genre that you can race ATV, say, in America, right? That's like, other than like, it's like some, say, barrel racing or shit like that. But like things that are recognized through the AMA.
Well, speaking of that, Andy, I'm sure we can knock one of those off the bucket list, right? You somewhat committed to state fair.
Yeah.
So you classify that as what?
We call that a short course.
So
a short course,
be TT?
But it's a mixture between a TT and a flat track.
And how is it recognized?
We get me a bike that's shortened up with some Hoosiers. You might knock one off that bucket list.
And that is an AMA or AMA state championship. So AMA does present a #1 plate for that.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've only got one of those.
Yeah. So there's another opportunity for you. So we're trying to help you out here.
We're trying here.
Okay.
So do you have another one on that list?
Another one. I've been out of the country. I've done Baja. I always wanted, like racing wise, I've been to Paris, I've been to Lyon, I've been to Germany, I've always wanted to do the Weston Beach Race is one of them. And then I always wanted to do like La Tuque, which was in Canada, which was that 12-hour race in Canada.
Yep.
But they don't do that anymore. So I would say, like to get outside of racing, I really want to, honest to God, I don't want to get all like weird and stuff. I always wanted to take my dad on like a trophy whitetail hunt. Like, like a bucket list thing, like for me and him together. He always liked deer hunting. We did it growing up, and then we got away from it because I raced. And now that I'm kind of doing it on my own and he's still there, he goes hunting again. So I'd love to be able to schedule that, but he's very like, hell, I don't need to do that shit. Blah, 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 blah. I'm fine hunting around here. But like to schedule him to go to like someplace like me and him together and see him like harvest or shoot a deer that like he's been dreaming of his whole life, that would be a bucket list for me, because he was the best man at my wedding. He still all my racing stuff. So it's like, if you got away from racing, that would be something for me that would mean a lot. I think that would be a bucket list for me, is me and him to share that moment, because we've shared a lot in my career. So to share something like that with my dad would be very cool. That's
neat. We do have some big whitetails here in Iowa and Missouri.
Well, let me get out there and get potentially this fair race done, this school, and we'll figure it out if you got big deer or not. All right?
Might have to come back a couple months after that, though.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, I sure appreciate it. Again, you've been awesome coming on here a couple different times for us tonight. A lot of news have been shared with the school, and being able to talk to Tanner, and I'm sure he appreciated having you on here. And we're looking forward to having you out here for the school, and then we can't wait to see what develops. But at least we know you're going to be at the Iowa State Fair race, and we just everybody can keep making the private bets whether or not you're going to race or not, maybe, or something.
So 100%. I know that the Birds are going to talk me into being there. The racing thing is still on the fence. Like I said, I have a machine. I've got the gear. I've got a whole get up. It's just, I don't know. There's times when you get older where you got to say, you know what, this ain't it. But I might get there and be like, you know what, give me my damn helmet. I'll be like Cole Trickle, be like, change my tires. That's what I'm going to say. Change my tires.
Oh, shoot. Well, Adam, thank you very much. I know it's late out there. We went a little long here tonight, but I think it's been great. A lot of info. I think we actually learned a lot about the Gator tonight, so that was kind of neat. So
for sure, I definitely, like I said, I'm really excited, and just to recap it real quick with everybody, the school is the 7th and the 8th. It'll be in Runnels, Iowa. I do have the full address, and I know Andy, you and Chris have it as well. The cost is $300 per rider. I don't like to go over more than 10 per day. And that's where it becomes, like I said, once again, it becomes down to the parents. You got to be honest with Jill and John for when we start grouping these kids of what class they're in, the machine they're on, and their age. So I please be honest with me on that. It'll be roughly 4 to 5 hours per day. The first day will be, which will be the 7th. That'll be my novice. Like I said, I hate saying that. My novice or my beginners, my starters. And then the 8th will be like a little more advanced, a little more, the seasoned racers, we say. And we do go over a lot of things. And this is just a general outline. It'll get jumbled, I'm sure, because I'm like a bull in a china shop when it comes to being around four-wheelers and people. We go over bike setup, bar placement, cornering, braking, body positioning. Like I said, we can even go within some steering dampener setups. There's a lot of things that we can go into with this. So I'm definitely very excited to come out, Andy and Chris, and see you guys do the school, share some knowledge, and then maybe do the state fair.
Maybe.
Awesome.
So while we were sitting here talking, or Andy was talking a lot, I went ahead and made a post off of our Facebook page as well with all this information. So
Awesome.
it's out there as well.
Awesome. Well, if there's anything that obviously, say John or Jill can answer, I can definitely answer that the best I can for you, Chris. So Facebook's usually the best with me because with the metal roof on the house and being in the mountain, it's spotty service. But just message me with Facebook. And the same with some of the parents there that are watching this. If you have questions that they can't answer, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I try to get back to everybody. So just give me some time, and I will try to respond to everybody's messages as best as I can.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, I know we're going to see you, obviously not too long, but in between now and then, good luck. Everything. You've had a heck of a year so far, a little ups and downs, but you're always positive. We're always excited to see you out there. And, man, we know you got the speed, get some luck on your side, and you're going to be right there.
You know what's coming up, right?
The snowshoe.
We don't call it snowshoe no more.
I'm sorry. Oh, what's this? McGill's, the hole, right?
Come on.
Gosh,
McGill Mountain,
darn it.
baby.
McGill Mountain. There you go.
It's the mountain that McGill built, baby. You coming to my house.
Oh,
Come to my house. So I am pumped. I am pumped. Win or lose, checkers or records, that thing's going out in a box or on the box is how I look at it at that point. So
whoa.
I am, as Dundee would say, retarded pumped for this race.
Well, I know I won't be there, but I can promise you'll have a fan on the live scoring watching and rooting for you. So we wish you all the luck and have a safe one out there, and we will get to see you in a couple months.
Yeah.
Sounds good, Andy. And Chris, I appreciate the time. And like I said, if you guys have any questions or have any families that have any questions that you guys can't answer, John or Jill, don't be afraid to reach out to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Adam. Oh, man, I felt like I let him down right there. Didn't even think about it till after he got off of there, Chris, but he's coming out and doing that schooling. And, he's probably bringing his van, I'm guessing, but I don't want to make him drive that to the fair and stuff. I wonder if maybe you could let him use the Prius. Just saying, it might.
Just saying. What, your monster truck Ford Fusion won't work, or Ford Fiesta?
Just don't know if it's classified as the same, though. I'm trying to
help the
guy out.
Man, that was good. I think Tanner was a little shocked. Your plan of bringing Adam on to do the interview, something a little different.
It was so. But the one thing obviously went long. We did get our youth one done. Are we still going to do it, or do you want to hold it till next week?
Nope. I'll throw it up here real quick. Give me just a second. I'll load it here.
Okay. If you need help, just let me know.
Whoa, computer is really slow right now.
I say, are you still loading it, or?
Yeah, I kind of am.
I feel like it's.
Hi, my name is Kolter Smalley, and I am interviewing Cade Tomlinson. What is your hometown state?
Nebraska.
How old are you?
10.
What was your first ATV?
Polaris. 50cc.
What class do you race?
90 production.
How did you get started racing?
My family.
Do you do any sports? Any other sports?
Baseball, football, and track.
What is your favorite thing to do outside when not racing?
Football.
Who is your favorite competitor in your class?
Hunter Rowe.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother named Jason Tomlinson.
And who is your hero?
My brother.
Who would you like to thank for helping you?
My whole family.
So, what is your favorite pop?
Coke.
And your favorite sport?
ATV racing.
Favorite sports team?
Nebraska.
Who is the best racer of all time?
Probably Hayden Deegan.
If you could go riding with anyone, who would you pick?
Probably Hayden Deegan again.
Okay, that's it. Thanks for letting me interview you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I gotta get a kick out of those interviews. Those kids, Kolter's learning, which I think we have some interest. Others want to try it as well. So I'm certainly game. Like we've talked about in the past, Fridays afternoons. If you want to be interviewed or be the interviewee, just let me know. And we'll work something out. I mean, it's quite entertaining, a little bit different. I've got some questions going on that possibly we haven't heard, from our adults, and just kind of throwing out some icebreaker questions. So we'll get some more interviews done. But
nice. And did you say that this race would be a good one to get a hold of you about?
It actually will. There's going to be a little more, or a couple more things on my plate to do this next race, but yeah, we'll get it set up in the scoring trailer, or actually we've got that nice barn there as well. We'll do a surprise interview here and there.
Cool. Very nice. That's the second time I said it.
Oh,
shoot. All right, Chris. Well, I know you got a lot going, and it's got.
Well, I just want to give a couple other updates. We talked earlier today, or mentioned the series points are out there. I saw some questions. We kind of were teasing Adam about State Fair race, so I did see a question pop up. We're working. Andy is just finalizing the last few classes. I think we're going to have an addition of one class, but we want to get it confirmed. Once that's confirmed, we will go ahead and open up registration for the State Fair. It'll all be done online, similar to our normal registration. So there is a tab out there off of our website for the Iowa State Fair Cup.
To just go to our normal website for the series, and then there's a tab that takes you straight to that, correct?
Yep. And
then something to remind everybody is we try to let as many people as we can, but we shoot for a maximum of 15 per class.
15.
15, per class. So highly, now the kids a little different. We try to get as many of them in as we can, but highly suggest getting signed up. And just as another reminder, can you sign up the day of the race?
You cannot sign up the day of the race. This all has to be done because it's an event put on by the State Fair. We have to have everything pretty much paid for and all that money turned in, so it can then State Fair can get that purse money ready. So, check all out.
And also one of the biggest things is our timeline at that State Fair is really tight.
It's down to the minute, buddy.
Yeah. So as we get closer, we'll go over what gate to come in. We know that's kind of a pain, so we ask everybody's patience there. We're working on each year to try to make it better, but that's always kind of I'd say if there's a hiccup of the whole event, it's usually just getting in that morning, with the attendance of the fair, there's over 1 million people come to the fair, so it's obviously, and it's the busiest day. I don't think a lot of people realize that the first Saturday of the State Fair is the busiest day of the fair almost every single year. So getting in there is one challenge. Once we get you in there, get you parked, we have a writers meeting, we have your practice session. And then after that practice session, Chris, you guys do a phenomenal job in the scoring. I know it's tough for you. The number plates is more important here than anywhere so that we can see you and you guys get them scored. But I've had a lot of people spend a lot of races, especially the TT stuff and motocross. And a lot of them, not to pat ourselves in the back, but have said that they love the way it's ran just because there's no downtime. We might take a little break just for a second to water the track or something. But for the most part, you keep them running, I'd say maybe a minute at the most use sometimes in between, the races. They're just continuous going. We get through it. and we got to be out of there by 5:30 is what we got to shoot for every year because of the concerts and stuff. So it's very important that we get in there, we get set up. Everybody you just got to come in and check in. There's no registration that day. You just check in. And then we get you on the scoring, I believe, by checking in, right?
Yep.
Because you got to decide what the heats, and then how they doing the heats is how they score, or they get to choose their spot for the.
No, the heats all determined. Normally I do like a randomized heat, and that's kind of what else is important. Back in the day we used to draw spoons. There it's all done. We put them in randomizer, and I think I have done live Facebook posts where we've kind of done the seeding. And last year we did it on one of the podcasts. So
Gotcha.
all that has to be predetermined. We got to go into that show basically knowing what heat everybody's in and lineups. Otherwise, it doesn't run as smooth. So it's very important. We want to continue. We got to get all that stuff done ahead of time. I see a question. When do we think sign up will open? I've been bugging Andy. What's bugging Andy? It's what's bugging Chris. We've got a lot of things Andy and I are trying to push through and work through. We've got State Fair. We've got Heartland stuff coming up. So a lot of things are on our plates to try to push through while we kind of have this little break in action. Not so much on the track, but behind the scenes, we're fast paced as well. My guess is next couple weeks, Andy, right?
Yeah, hopefully before then, but I've just got to get stuff nailed down. I'll be honest with you, the Heartland has kind of been tugging at me lately more than the State Fair, and I need to just make sure I get that done. So I'll try to get that info to you just as soon as I can. So yeah.
So everybody's requesting this. I see it in the comments, Andy. For some reason, this is popular. That everybody wants to know what's bugging Andy. So you better come up with something on the fly, because
that's never a problem, because what's bugging the Andy is still bugging me because of this last race, and I want to get that video to you so we can play it. But I don't like cheaters. I don't like it. It's three people in this world that I can't stand. That's cheaters, liars, and thieves, and I think they're all the same. So we will play that video just so people see that. We'll share what we've seen and make sure that it doesn't happen again, or else we will be on top of it like crazy. But what bugging Andy, I'm going to actually throw you a curveball, and I'm going to tell you just the opposite. What's got Andy, nothing bugging me. It's just amazing that 22 years, and I feel like we are in the best shape we've ever been in as far as the help and the people making the series run. We're taking on different challenges, than we did at the very beginning with the series, 7-race series, the Heartland Challenge, the State Fair race. People don't realize it, but those are three completely different situations, and it takes a lot of prep and everything behind the scenes. What you're doing, Chris, what Sabrina's doing, what Zach's doing.
Whoa. Don't give Zach too much credit. He's only one-handed right now.
Right. But everything down to the girls at the registration, the girls at the trailer coming in, scoring, everything. We just can't thank everybody enough. It truly kind of warms my heart when you stop and actually look at how things work now. I was unable to make a race last year, and so impressed with how everything went, and that's really cool. And, you just sit back and watch a little bit, and you can't help if you're a part of the series or if you're a rider. And I'm not trying to say we're better than any other series or anything out there, but I'm just really proud of everybody behind the scenes, our riders. I mean, everything is just very impressive. I'm just so happy right now at the situation. So definitely thank everybody, and hopefully we don't get another what's bugging Andy, but we'll just give props again, hopefully. So, but I'm sure there will be. So yeah,
man, there were some other things on the list. We kind of got sidetracked. We can share a story, military story next week.
Yes, thank you. I really wanted to do that. So
do it. Share your story. It's not what bugging Andy, but what touched Andy.
Yeah. this touchy-feely thing's getting to me. It's one of those things, Chris, where, we just had a wedding with Brock and Bess, and seeing the people there that are in the race family, it just means so much. It's unbelievable, and you look at the lives that's been touched from the series and the connections and stuff. And in the last couple of races, I've had a couple people come up to me, and it just meant the world to me. They would take the time and let me know. And in Fort Dodge, it was Owen Hyatt's grandfather came to me and talked to me a little bit about situation. Unfortunately, I had to pull Owen in when he had an issue on the track, and we got to talk a little bit. But he's going in to the armed services, and he's leaving and won't be back racing with us for some time now, because he had graduation the very next one, which was Corden, and then he was leaving. And I just seen, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, where he got signed in and is now leaving for training and stuff. And Owen's raced with us for a long time. And again, just for them to take the time to even to mention it to us and let us know, very proud of them, for doing what they're doing. And we're just so proud of him. He's been with us for a long time in that family. And we definitely want to stay in touch, and just honored to have him go there and, fight for our freedom, so make sure we got it. And then the other one, oh man, I just went blank. Tryson, yeah. Same thing, he came up to me at the last race at Corden and just let me know what was going on, that he would be leaving, and has enjoyed his time racing with us, and hopes to be back sometime, but bigger and better things right now. With he also got signed in, I seen online just the last couple days. And so those two young men are taking off to serve our country, and we couldn't be more proud and honored of both of them. So
and that's Tracy Ratcliffe.
Right? Yep. And we got some pictures I had, so we'll get those stuck up when we can. Might be the next episode, but yeah, just thanks to them and their family. It meant a lot. Just take a second just to let us know. So appreciate it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Was that it on the checklist?
I think that was mostly on my little checklist I had going on here.
Awesome. No. Well, that's fun. There was some stuff that we didn't get done as much as I'd like to, but having him on there, and I think we got to do a lot of stuff that we never planned on, having him come on. And it's he's always fun to have around, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, good podcast.
Yeah, looking forward to August now. Even though we got some time in between. Hey, last thing I'm going to say is I would not wait another second to get signed up for that class. I've seen what Adam does at the schools. When he came out here before, you're definitely going to pick something up. And not too many times you get a chance to have this opportunity. So definitely get signed up. It's close to home for most people. If you're coming to the race, you come in. If you're going to do it on a Friday or something, you just spend the night, race the next day at State Fair, get a chance at the AMA state #1 plate, which is really cool. First time that's ever been done in Iowa was last year. So, yeah, a lot of fun there. So,
yeah, we got to talk. We'll switch gears. I'll mention again, we kind of haven't had a chance, talk about Heartland. I know we're running a little bit long, but I saw an increase after last podcast, so I'm just going to throw it out there again. The registration's open. I think I saw 11 or so. So we jumped like 10 after the podcast last time. So we need to start filling those classes up. Anybody interested in sponsoring the classes? I think you've gotten a couple that more class sponsorships filled, but there's still an opportunity there as well. I think also Mulch Pile has maybe a sponsorship opportunity.
Yeah, that'll be a really cool section for sure. But yeah, and the big thing is right now, we got so many kids we're so proud of. We need to get them in there. We need to get the kids signed up, the team wise. I recommend groups of 2, so they can enjoy the switching out and stuff. But man, this is a really neat, it's the funnest race of the year if you ask me, but getting a chance to, have the impound and, and do it as a team and get the families together in the pits. It's just so fun. And if you haven't experienced it, now's definitely the time to do it. It's this year. So, and same with the adults. I've been talking to a lot of teams, mainly adult teams, what I've been talking about, and Ironman teams. So a lot going on. We'll discuss it a lot more next week.
And we got the new I can't think of new event schedule. Sorry, mine's going blank now. It's getting a little late, but event schedules out there are updated schedule. We're going to focus kids on Friday, so it's kind of something different. But yeah, we're going to make the most of it.
Sounds great. Cool. Well, we'll have a lot of stuff. Might even have some Facebook Lives coming up talking about some stuff for the Heartland and the Iowa State Fair race. So try to get as much info as we can out. And don't forget, I know we've got some of our guys that's talking about doing it, some youth and adults at the Mount Pleasant race, our next race, having a 2-day race with ATVs on Saturday and dirt bikes on Sunday. So that'll be fun to watch.
Yep. It'll be entertaining.
Yeah. And a shout out. A lot of people have asked me about, actually, this just came up yesterday. Someone was asking me about the dirt bike race, and they were kind of scared about, maybe somebody didn't want to do it because they were going to be riding the hump, at the ATV track. Just so everybody knows, it will not be on the ATV track. It'll be a completely different setup track, single track. Shout out to the Burlington Valley Dusters.
Yep.
That will be building the track. They're the club that kind of does the races down at Greenhurst Farms. They have a race there every year, and they're the ones coming to build it for this NRA race. So should be a lot of fun. Definitely each day is directed just to that, whether it be an ATV or a dirt bike. There's no sharing, it'll be a lot of fun. Just 2-day fun event. And again, thanks to Midwest Performance and Power out of Keokuk to, being a part of this, and they've been a big help for us for a long time. So,
yep.
And of course, can't forget Power Sports Share. We didn't have them on tonight, but maybe we'll hear from them next week and get another update from them. But having them as a title sponsor and Midwest Performance as a race sponsor it's already a good weekend, just knowing that. So, Cool. Sounds good.
That 3 now? Cool. That's
Cool.
4.
Cool. Very nice.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks.
Great.
Thanks for a good podcast. Thanks for those sticking around. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, bud.